Montreal's cohabitation issues, they're not these random, superficial conflicts. Instead, they represent fundamental inequities in housing, accessing public space, and decision-making. And those are issues that affect all of us.
Concordia University students say the ongoing housing crisis has disproportionately affected Montreal's Filipino community. At a panel discussion on Wednesday, students discussed cohabitation and homelessness tensions in the city with the aim of finding better ways to address these issues. Student Eve Xinidakis, she says these tensions are often due to judgment and negative perceptions, which leaves some Montrealers being marginalized.
The solutions being proposed today, they center around housing commodification. In other words, we're looking at building housing solutions that are built for people and not for profit.
Xinidakis notes that the event highlighted many inequalities within housing, homelessness, and discrimination of newcomers.
There's a bit of an irony here because even though a lot of people's immigration status mean that they can't even access buying a house, they often get blamed with being to blame for the housing crisis itself.
Concordia University student John Marvin Reyes says addressing homelessness and housing concerns are vital for the Filipino community.
It's really important for the Filipino community because this is the start to have that conversation because again, we are all affected by it. Most of the immigrants feel that we are being scapegoated or we're being blamed for the housing crisis when it is in fact already existent before our arrival.
Veronica Jane Burtis of Centre Capua, a community group that works with Filipino youth in Côte des Neiges, says many Filipino people are being priced out of the area following Montreal's plan of acquiring 700 units across 30 apartment buildings.
If we don't have housing, it's a bit hard for us to actually catch our breath, pahinga. So in a sense, if you have an insecurity with your housing, you won't be able to mind even your basic needs. So it's very important for our community to be aware of what's happening.
Panelists discussed their thoughts on various housing topics with the goal of paving the way that sees housing justice for all.
We really want to break that stigma that homeless people is not always jobless. Homeless people is not always violent.
Housing is something that brings people to talk about things like homelessness. It brings people to talk about things like immigration. It brings people to talk about things like poverty and inequality, and the future of the city.
In Montreal, Tehosterihens Deer, City News.